Hello YouTube, iFixItAll here, Team iFixItAll. This is a SUPERSPLIT wood splitter. I've had this thing for years. I think since 2008. This operates on a rack and pinion system. You can look at that online if you want, but it's got two 100-pound flywheels. I believe they're 100 pounds. On a common shaft that's machined out like a gear. In the center of the axle is machined as though it were a spline. And as these wheels turn, the axle is turning, which walks this ram out, which is splined to match, and pushes the wood against this wedge, and it splits it, and then it returns. It's got Subaru Robbins 4.5 something. I think that might be horsepower, I don't know. I think I've had this since '08. And it will put away all your firewood for the whole winter in just one day. If you just get up on a Saturday and get your blood running through your veins and just come out here and bang it out, you will keep two wood stackers busy. But I situate myself to where it just pushes the firewood into the woodshed. I don't stack anymore because I've got a really efficient wood stove. It's 4 cubic feet, and it's a gasifier system made by US Steel. The brand is called a Vogel-Zang TR007. Vogel-Zang TR007. Aesthetically, it looks really nice. It's got a beautiful glass door. One of the selling points on it is when you don't have to wait for your fire to go out to clean it out. It's got a metal square plug in the floor of the wood burner. You get it out with a poker. Then you rake you rake the majority of your ash into this hole, which goes into a drawer that's underneath. And then you put the plug back, and all the coals that you elected to keep, you just rake them to the center and add wood, and you never have to let your fire go down. And all those coals stay inside that drawer and turn into ash, and the off gas of that material that's in that drawer is getting sucked back into the fireplace. But it's a gasifier system. Look into those. That's the better one to get. I know there's catalytic converter ones. I don't recommend those. Get the gasifier system and look to make your choice and to help you understand what you're going to buy for a wood burner. Look at the TR007 Vogel-Zang. Really thick steel everywhere. It's about, I believe it's about 600 pounds. Costed $1,000 on Amazon. I ordered it through Amazon. That's not shipped. I think there's a little bit more on top of that for shipped. That was several years ago. But this thing will split your wood you need for the whole winter in a day, and you won't be exhausted either. It'll actually be an enjoyable experience. It'll give you more time in the fall or whatever you do to collect firewood during the course of the year. I usually get sawmill cut-offs as firewood and have to do some splitting, or occasionally I'll run into a tree, or I'll order up firewood from people who like selling it, and I'll order it by the dump load or by the truckload. And I like running into locust. Locust is some of the hottest burning wood there is. Pine will burn hot too, but it doesn't have a lot of lasting power. And with my chimney flue system, it's all stainless within stonework, and it hardly ever creosotes up. But with this new wood burner, it's turning up some temperatures. If you have a really good hot fire, you shouldn't build up creosote. It's when you damp the fires down and you've got a lot of smoke, that's when you're building creosote. My chimney hardly ever smokes anymore with this new wood burner we've got. But this is the SUPERSPLIT. Paul McCann and his son is building these now, small business. They've been around for years and years. They have no trouble selling these. Absolutely no trouble selling them. They're made like something you would see made 100 years ago, excluding the newer tech. But just everything about it is so over-engineered to last. And I'm happy with it. As a matter of fact, when I'm planning, and this gasoline tank here, and this engine itself, just seems so darn efficient. Yeah, I'm doing something if I run a full tank of gas on this thing, splitting firewood. Of course, if I ran it a full Saturday, splitting all my firewood for the full Saturday, I might go through 2 tanks of gas. I don't know what that is, 2 quarts, half a gallon, maybe a gallon altogether. Let's see what it does. I'm gonna run through a couple pieces of locust and a red oak. Everything I've got here is kind of cheating because it's all straight. I know you guys want to see some twisted, weird shaped wood. How's it do on all that? I've split all that before on this thing. I'm a veteran on splitting wood with this. I'm telling you, I've split every shape, angle, tweak, twerk, twisted, a letter Y that's all goofy looking. You just got to read your lumber when you put it on this thing. You got to read it. You got to, when you lift up on this handle to engage that ram down here, you got to watch that wood. If it starts to twist real fast, you got to disengage, let this thing come back, and it's all springs pull this thing back. I got to tighten my springs. I may have to help it along on this video, but it gets pulled back on its own by just 2 simple springs. But it gets walked out by that engine. Like I said, the engine is, I don't remember saying it, but I'll repeat it if I did. The clutch system on the side here is a 3/4 inch pulley with a V-belt that goes to these 14-inch diameter 2 flywheels, one on each side. So that's 0.75 to 14 ratio. So at 3,500 RPM, you're translating to a slower RPM on this, but you have the energy stored in these flywheels, which is what's making that initial crack on the wood, which actually does 90% of the splitting power. This unit here is not hydraulic, no electric, it's just this gas motor and that old flywheel technology. But on initial impact, it's equivalent to about 22 tons of hydraulic. So there's no ton measurement on this because the further this rack and pinion slides out, the energy is reduced and reduced. It's curving down. And when the ram comes back and the flywheels catch back up, you're back up to a 22 pound worth of force of braking power. 22 tons, I'm saying. I don't know if I said pound or not, but 22 tons worth of braking power. Let me throw something on here. I'm just going to cut a couple of pieces and let you see it running. I think I've had this thing since '08, if I'm not mistaken. Locust. So one of the things that you got to think about is this damn machine is always staring at you. You're the slowest link in the chain. This thing's way. I try to keep up with it when I split, and when I hear it running and this rack has returned and I don't have a piece of wood to give it, there's the inefficiency, the human body, the person. So I love the machine, to tell you the God's honest truth. It has taken a beating. It has worked, earned its keep around here. I highly recommend you look into getting one. SUPERSPLIT Plus, it's made in USA, USA, and it's a family business. I talked to them recently. I'm thinking about doing a modification to this, but the clutch and pulley is over here, and the V-belt, which drives this flywheel, which is by default connected by that splined axle to this flywheel. This flywheel doesn't have a job other than to spin and make centrifugal force to translate that stored energy into this rack. I'm thinking about putting a 10 or 15 kW generator head here, mounting it on the bottom, and belt driving it, and then do all of the electrical fancy schmancies to get a manual transfer switch on the house and run this thing during a power outage. I still haven't done that though. I did talk to him about 2 months ago, Paul McCann up there, and he was interested in the idea. But if that project takes off, which it probably will, because this is the only portable item I have that's reasonably portable, that has the energy storage to drive something like an RPM sensitive generator head. RPM's critical. 60 hertz. You gotta maintain 60 hertz. If you're slinking on either side of 60 hertz, you're going to burn up some electronics in your house. It's not only the voltage, it's not just the amps. Old school cycles per second is the same thing. CPS is the same thing as Hertz, the German guy who did all of the research and got credit for all of the things we know about frequency. Frequency is the opposite of time. You know, frequency is equals 1 over T, and time equals 1 over F, or frequency. That relationship and all the research that went into it is given the United States a 60 cycles per second, or 60 hertz standard, 50 hertz in Europe. This machine here is the only one I own that has what I feel is the appropriate foot-pounds of storage of energy to turn a reasonably sized generator head. And I don't know how much it'll drink too, but that all depends on the load on the generator head versus what I'm asking for at the house. I'm attempting to really, it would be really interesting to see a 20 kW generator head on this thing. That would be some serious structural modifications. With a 10, I don't know. I mean, that would run our well pump, but it certainly wouldn't run our tankless water heater. Certainly wouldn't be close to every big 220 item I have. It would pretty much put that generator head at 60-70% max. So I gotta think that through. You guys have a great day.
That's all for now. See ya.